Hello there everybody, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. I'm going to be sharing a fun project with you using the new Simon Says stamp Happy and Joyful release. And today's video is also part of the Happy and Joyful blog hop. So if you'd like to see even more inspiration using this collection, be sure to check out the link below in the video description of this video. Or if you're over on my blog, scroll down to the bottom of the post. In today's video, I'm going to be doing some hot foiling, which is a technique I absolutely love, and I'm going to pair that up with some Copic marker coloring so that we can color this beautiful, intricate rose blossom hot foil plate. This is from the new release, and I also paired it with a couple of other new release products. So I'm going to start first by taking my hot foil machine. You can use any hot foil machine you have. I'm using the Spellbinders Glimmer machine. I'm going to let my hot foil plate heat up inside of the machine while I prepare my white cardstock, which is Simon Says Stamp White Glossy, and also my hot foil. This is some gold foil from Spellbinders. I'm going to cut the foil to be about the same size as my cardstock, which is just slightly larger than my plate. And I'm going to tape the foil in place so that it doesn't shift as I run this through my die cut machine to transfer the foil onto the paper. Once your machine has heated up, you're going to go ahead and lay the foil and the cardstock face down on top of the hot foil plate, and then place any coordinating spacer plates on top of the machine. Then I'll run this through my die cut machine, and we're left with our beautiful transferred design on top of our white glossy cardstock. This cardstock works absolutely fabulous for hot foiling techniques. I really like how it transfers. And if you do have any stray areas of foil left over on your project, you could typically brush those off with a brush or use a sand eraser. I didn't really have any areas that were impacting my image because I'm going to cut this out. So I have my design ready to go, and it's going to get placed on my card once I color it. Now I have colored hot foiled designs with my Copic markers for years. I love this technique and I love how it looks. I've also done it with colored pencils. I would be careful of how you color with your Copic markers over top of the foiling, just the way you don't damage the foil or also get any foil transferred to your markers. I've never had this happen to my markers, and I've never had any issues with doing this. Like I said, I've done this for years, but I also can't guarantee nothing will happen. So just be very careful, and I just like to try to avoid any of the foiled edges if I can. Foil has a tendency to resist, so even like if you put ink over top of foiling, it will resist anything that gets put on top of it. So like I said, I just try to be careful when I'm coloring a foiled image like this with my Copic markers. As you can see, I used a lot of bright, happy spring colors, and yellow and blue flowers look really nice framing up those pink ones in the middle. I'm going to pull out another piece of white cardstock here. This is not glossy, this is just some Simon Says Stamp 120-pound white cardstock, and I have some surf ink. I'm going to use that ink to ink blend a halo of color in the middle of my image here. This is going to frame up those flowers really nicely. I'm going to stick this inside of my stamping tool. This is my Misty stamping tool, and I have the new soft plaid background stamp from Simon's Happy and Joyful collection. I'm going to line my card up on top of the stamp and transfer it over to my Misty so that way everything's in place where I want it, and I'm going to start inking up the stamp. I'm focusing most of the ink in the center of this stamp, and then I'm going to bring in my blending brush and feather out the ink around the edges. So what I'm doing is I'm creating this nice soft halo of ink in the middle, and then it's going to fade out as it goes to the edges of the card. So what we're going to have is that nice focus of plaid in the middle, and that's going to then frame out the flowers really well, along with that halo of color that we added for the ink blending. I did this twice so that way I got a really nice impression. I wanted to make sure that the center was fairly dark. And then I'm going to pop my flowers up right into the middle of this card. And you'll notice I have that little boo-boo there on the top of my flowers. I had accidentally smudged my marker onto those blue flowers, but I'll show you how we're going to cover that up. We're going to take some clear sequins. Now these happen to be like little cupped flowery ones, but any regular clear sequins would work for this. And I'm just going to glue those over different sections of the flowers, and I focused a couple of them right there over top of that smudge of Copic marker coloring. So it hides it really well. You can't really tell it was there. And then I'm just going to finish things up with a few little gems from Memory Box, and I'm just putting those in the centers of some of the flowers. Not all of them, but just in a few. This adds a nice bit of embellishment. So our embellishing is done. We're ready to go ahead and turn this into a finished card. I did decide I wanted to frame this up with a little bit of white cardstock, so I chopped off the back of this card, and now it's going to be just a panel that I can put on top of a white card base. I always change my mind halfway through a card, so sometimes you'll see me do a 180s when we're creating. I'm going to pull out some sentiments here. This is from a new beautiful floral theme stamp set that's part of the release. I have it linked below in the video description as well as over on my blog, along with all the other supplies I used today. I'm inking up those sentiments with embossing ink. And the reason I'm stamping two is because I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use. So I wanted to have the option of both, and so I figured, well, I'll go ahead and stamp them both now, and then anything I don't use, I can go ahead and save for another card. So I embossed them with gold embossing powder, and they're going to get lined up down along the bottom portion of the card over top of some of the flowers. I attached that panel onto my card with some foam tape, and then the sentiments getting popped up off of the card too with foam tape. So I'm going to put this at a little bit of an angle. I've been really liking how this adds some interest to my cards by sticking the sentiment down at an angle. And that's going to complete this card. I love all this gold. It just shines so beautifully. Copic marker coloring just pops. And that glossy cardstock really adds that nice finishing touch to this. All in all, this card is absolutely beautiful. And I really loved creating with some of these new products from the Simon Says Stamp Happy and Joyful collection. There's a lot more floral themed products, so if you're interested in flowers, there's a lot to choose from. Don't forget to stop over to my blog for additional details on the blog hop. Would love to see you over there, and you might even be able to win a prize. There's a free gift offer, and there's lots of inspiration using this new release. So thanks so much for watching today. I appreciate it very much. I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you again soon with more inspiration for you. Thanks for watching, and have a fabulous day. Bye!